All right, welcome back to One Bills Live. Chris Brown, Steve Tasker, and we are pleased to be joined now by ESPN NFL and college football studio analyst Sam Acho, who you're also going to be able to find on XFL broadcasts this coming spring, as he is going to be one of the commentators. Keeping yourself busy, Sam.
Man, I'm excited, man. Obviously, finished my time in the NFL, played with the Bills for a bit, had my cup of tea there, played in Tampa Bay, and then now I'm getting a chance to not only do ESPN, but call games for the XFL. I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, and you are staying busy, no question about it. You've got a new book out, which is called Change Starts With You, Following Your Fire to Heal a Broken World. You've got a chance to be an inspirational speaker and talk a lot around the country about leadership. Give us your thoughts about the book, how it's going. This is your second book, of course, as well. Give us your thoughts about this newest edition that you put in print.
Yeah, this book really is about leadership and about leading through adversity. I mean, especially Damar Hamlin, who saw what happened there, and like how there were so many leaders wondering what should we do and how should we do it. And then you go through it, it's like, man, like what if there's ways we can actually make real change? And so my book, Change Starts With You, is really about, man, like what happened during COVID, and then like sports was canceled and all these things happened. And all of a sudden, like we see George Floyd killed. We see all these. It's like, man, what if we could actually like make a change? Supposed to just argue and fight, and maybe listening is great. What if we could actually move? And so some friends and I, some current athletes, got a chance to come together and build a food mart. And what we discovered was a food desert. And it started with just getting a little bit curious and staying open to be willing to make a change in our community.
Yeah, we kind of experienced that firsthand here in Buffalo with the tragic racial shooting back in May last year, where the only grocery store where unfortunately this incident happened turned the East Buffalo community on Jefferson Avenue into a food desert. And, it prompted some people to take positive action as well. So we know exactly where you're coming from. So just so everybody knows, though, the official release is March 7th for the book, right?
Yeah. So it comes out March 7th, but the book's available for pre-order right now, right? So in a few weeks it'll be out, but it's available for pre-order now. And there's some pretty awesome pre-order offers. You'll be able to get a chance to advance, chapters early and all these other things. So it's at samachobook.com. But you're right, man. Like so often we think that we can't do anything, whether it's about race, whether it's about our families, whether it's about like our teams. But we realize, man, like, I remember when the Bills, that huge snowstorm, and Bills fans came and started clearing out all the snow so players could get out and go play the game in Detroit, right? Like change starts with you. It might seem like a little tiny thing, but if you come together as a unit, as a community, you can make massive change. And the players, athletes, students, kids, your kids, like people will feel the effects of you taking that one step. The subtitle, we talk about it, Following Your Fire to Heal a Broken World. It talks about what is that fire that we've all been missing, or maybe there's a fire that you've been kind of quenching. How do you get to that fire and follow it to change the world?
Well, Sam, good luck with the book. We're looking forward to its release. I wanted to also ask you about the other project we mentioned a moment ago. You are an analyst for XFL football. What led to this, and how's it going to go? And what are your thoughts about this new season coming up? What's the schedule look like?
Man, I couldn't be more excited. So the season starts the week after Super Bowl. So in about 9 days is when the first game is. And so February 18th. And what led to it was really an opportunity. I haven't told a lot of people this story. So I was covering college football and the NFL. And I happened to be in studio one day, and one of my hosts missed their flight. And they missed their flight. And so somebody said, "Hey, Sam, are you available to be in studio?" I said, "Sure." And so they were going to do this audition, not really an audition, but in so many ways an audition for the XFL, which is going to be totally different than anything we've seen. You're going to have open microphones. So player coach communication, you'll hear all of that. There's going to be new rules where coaches get one challenge. You can challenge anything in the entire game, right? Like you can challenge a missed pass interference. You can challenge whatever you want to challenge. The Rock is the co-owner along with Danny Garcia. So co-owners of the XFL. And so that's what led to my opportunity. I got a chance to do this audition because someone missed their flight, and I think I did a really good job. And like the referee, we had integrated Dean Blandino, the referee, we're gonna hear his audio like throughout the entire game, anytime a call is being made. And so I got a chance to do that. And then along with that, my role will be calling some of the games. So I'll be the color analyst for week 1. It'll be on ESPN. The Orlando Guardians at the Houston Roughnecks is my first game. There's going to be a game on FX the following week on Thursday. So really Saturdays and Sundays are mainly the games, and also Thursdays and a Friday here or there.
Yeah, and I would imagine, Sam, that this is going to go outside the box of, what Steve did for CBS for 18, 20 years as a color analyst, because with all that extra content live, we're going to be able to climb into the head of those player coach conversations all the more, because we're going to not only see them live, but you're going to be able to kind of commentate on them, having been in those situations yourself, I would assume.
And you'll be able to listen to them. It's almost like you won't even need, you have the coaches interviews, which we'll have at halftime. Oh, we got to run hard and tackle better and all these things. They don't give you anything. We'll be in the locker room at halftime listening to what the coaches are saying and what they're teaching their players. We'll have, in the NFL, and Steve, you know this really well, they have the iPads where they just do the screenshots. You only see a screenshot of the play that happened before on the sideline. Well, now you actually have the live film and the live footage. You can watch it. The coaches have access, the players have access, but also we as fans will be able to have access to that. So after a touchdown, you'll be able to go and watch with the player, have the quarterback or the player tell me what happened on this play, and you'll watch it and they'll tell you exactly what the play was called. You'll hear play calls, you'll hear defensive adjustments, you'll hear from defensive coordinators as they combat against offensive coordinators. This is unprecedented access. That's why I'm so excited about this XFL 3.0. Yes, the access, but also the leadership. The Rock, Danny Garcia, Redbird Capital Partners, and obviously ESPN, a multi-year agreement.
So you've also got some stuff going on, as everybody in the football world. Everybody's kind of focused on the Super Bowl coming up here this weekend. You have also kept track a little bit of what's going on with your old team, the Buffalo Bills, where like you said, you were here for a cup of coffee. What are your thoughts on a team like Buffalo, like a team like San Francisco, like a team like Cincinnati and Kansas City, those kind of teams that are up at the top, along with Philadelphia? That they're so close every year, and when you get into those final games, the division round of the playoffs and the championship round of the playoffs and the Super Bowl, what the key ingredients are that can put a team over the top. What do you see the Buffalo Bills at right there, as well as some of the other teams that are right at the top of the heap?
Well, and you all know this, and Steve, you know this well as well. You could almost feel the pressure that was put on the team, or maybe the team put on themselves, the expectations, specifically with Buffalo. And sometimes it's a lot of weight. And I know the team went through a lot, right? I mean, think about players losing loved ones early in the season, the snowstorms. You think about DeMar Hamlin. The team went through a lot. And these are not excuses, but then the expectations, right? The Patriots are down. Patriots have been down. This is your time. No more Tom Brady. And that's what I felt, that pressure. It seems like with Kansas City, you talk about other teams at the top, there's this freedom in so many ways. And maybe that's I don't know what that comes from, right? There's this freedom. And obviously not every team can make it every year. We get it. But man, it's like, the talent's there, the coaching is there, but you felt that pressure and that pushing and trying to go back out there and play, even though Josh Allen had the injury, and trying to play through it. Stuff like that is where you say, man, how do you get over the hump? And sometimes it does take a player or two, right? Losing Von Miller is obviously huge. The reason you got him was to go and win in the playoffs and win a Super Bowl. So losing him hurts a ton. So maybe it just takes a healthy Von, sometimes that's all it takes. But that's what I felt watching the games, a little bit of that pressure for the Bills.
And then specifically with respect to the Super Bowl matchup, Sam, you have two of, I think, what are arguably the two best offensive lines in football matching up. I know the Eagles are pretty darn good front to back on the defensive side as well. The Chiefs might not be quite as talented defensively, but they've got a veteran play caller in Spagnuolo who can somehow tilt the scales in favor of his unit an awful lot. Do you see the offenses dictating this game, or do you anticipate maybe one of these defensive units playing a major hand in this thing?
I think the defense for the Chiefs will have to step up. And I don't know if it's going to be Chris Jones on the defensive line or George Karlaftis, the rookie out of Purdue. I don't know who it'll be or what it'll be, but someone on Philly's defense will have to step up. I don't know if it's just going to be in the passing game, right? And getting sacked. I think it'll have to be stopping the run. Philly, when the rubber meets the road, Philly wants to run the football. We've seen it a couple times. They had a couple of game over 250 yards once, a couple game, in the playoffs, ran it over 160. Philly wants to run the ball. And if Philly can dictate the game by running the ball, it's going to be a long day for the Chiefs. But if the Chiefs can get Philly in like second and long, right, third and long, maybe force a turnover too. The one game that Jalen Hurts lost, I think they turned the ball over 4 times. 1 interception, I believe it was 3 fumbles. That's the formula.
Right.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you as well. It seems like, and if you boil this game down to its most basic, fundamental things, Philly seems to have a really loaded roster around Jalen Hurts. Certainly, Jalen played very well this season, but their defensive front, their secondary of Philadelphia, and of course their offensive line, running game, and their weapons on the outside, they seem to be a really loaded roster. The Kansas City Chiefs seem to be Pat Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and a bunch of guys. Is that the basics of this game? It's because Travis Kelce and Pat Mahomes lead all-time historic levels in some of their statistics in playoff football. Those two guys are powerhouses, but the Eagles come in with a really loaded roster. Is that kind of the basics of this game?
Well, I think it's deeper than that. I think the next level is the bunch of guys, but the coach putting these bunch of guys in a position to succeed. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, remember he was in Green Bay. This dude was one of the top as far as like average yards per catch. He was tops in the league. So you get rid of Tyreek Hill, all of a sudden you do have a potential deep threat in Scantling. Juju Smith-Schuster, who, yes, had some injuries, but you find a way to get him involved. Isaiah Pacheco out of Rutgers, right? This late round pick, all of a sudden is the running back of the future. Just getting gains that people don't usually get, yards after contact. And so it's about those pieces, putting them in place. That's been the difference. So yes, Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, but those bunch of guys are being, marionetted by their head coach in Andy Reid.
And then, Sam, I know you're always keeping an eye on your Longhorns. Don't know if you've noticed, but in a lot of the early mock drafts, the Bills are being mocked Bijan Robinson. Personally, I don't think he's making it all the way down to 27. So there's that. But all in all, what are your thoughts on him and his pro prospects for an NFL career?
He's an animal. I mean, so I've called a couple Texas games, not only this year, but last year. And obviously college football analyst, I'm watching all the games. He's an animal. This dude has lateral quickness that is unprecedented. Like, think about like the Saquon Barkley type, what you saw him early in his career and even in Penn State. He talked about wanting to be as strong as an ox, and he's strong, but he's also quick enough where, yeah, he could hit the hole downhill. Sure. You want to say, man, hit the hole. Then all of a sudden you see him cut laterally and make a bigger play than he would have made if he hit the hole. And so you see him have great straight line speed, great lateral quickness, great strength, and big playability to catch the ball out of the backfield as well.
So there's no way he's getting to 27, is there?
He's not getting to 27. If he does, it'll be one of those Aaron Rodgers steals where it's like, how did he go all the way that late?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Well, Sam, we appreciate you coming on with us. It's been great talking to you, and I hope that your book is a huge success. Thanks for spending some time with us.
No, thank you all so much. Love being on. Anybody wants to know more, just go to samachobook.com. You can pre-order it right now.